One of the hardest things you can do as an entrepreneur is to have the business hit on all cylinders. Main reason being is because you honestly don't know what you're doing when you're just getting started. You just have an idea, a visual in your head of how things are supposed to be. Typically what happens is you get in the game, you score a few buckets. So in your mind, you think, oh snap, this is easy. But then the defense adjusts and slowly but surely the game gets harder and harder. And even though I got a ton of help over time through coaches, consultants, and through my experience, I can't help but to wonder how much time I would have saved if I were able to implement what I know now early on in my journey. So this year I decided to switch things up just a little bit. I decided I want to share as much value in these videos going forward, starting with this one. This is a live train I conducted a few weeks ago. I think you'll find a ton of value in this video. So check this video out and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you on the other side. So this is super important. To be honest with you, when it comes to the DM glitch process and the sales process, this is probably the most, well, I ain't gonna say the most important because I'm probably gonna say that throughout the entire training. So, but whenever I say this is the most important, that means that this is super important, right? Now, we want to leverage the Facebook paid ads channel and we want to hyper grow your audience and your revenue up front. Here's the problem. The reason why, this is for you too, David. The reason why most people get upset with their process or funnel or they kind of get discouraged is because the expectation. You got to have the right expectation. So what I'm going to do throughout this entire thing is I'm going to set the right expectation so you understand why you're doing what you're doing, okay? So the objective is to grow your audience and generate revenue quickly to gain leverage. The difficulty is hard. It is very difficult. I won't say very difficult, it's difficult, okay? And that's where people, this disconnect comes in. Like people think that it's easy. It's not easy. I'm going to say this again. The difficulty is hard, okay? The strategy we're going to use is the DM glitch system. I'm going to show you a way to make it easier if you follow these processes, but if you don't, it's going to be difficult. Now, in order for you to make the DM glitch work, you have to understand the 4 C's: connect, converse, commitment, convert. If you miss out on any one of these, you're going to have either a high no-show rate or you're just not going to get any results. Honestly, that's really the first one. Again, I'm going to start off with connect, all right? You want to connect with the prospect. The connection means that you have to grab the attention by focusing on them. This is where people mess up at. When the DM glitch starts to happen and you start getting leads in the inbox, you go straight to the conversation. I see this all of the time, right? Especially with newbies. You have to connect. So the first form of connection is the reciprocity advantage. This is why you're giving them the free ebook. But even with that being said, you still have to start off by making a conversation about them. This is why when we do our automation, this is why we ask them, well, what are your goals? Now, if that doesn't work, if they don't respond to that, typically what we'll do is we'll say, hey, did you get my previous message or something like that? But if you're writing that inbox, you would do that. But let's say it's the next day or it's a lead that didn't respond to them in like 10 minutes or something like that, 10, 15 minutes. What you would say is, hey, did you get a chance to go through my training yet? If so, I would love to know your feedback on that. Did it help? Anything that's geared towards them. And then typically what's going to happen is they're going to say, oh, no, I didn't get a chance to go through it. Oh, I didn't have time. I was busy. I had to go pick my kids up from school. Pigs were flying and I got distracted, whatever. It's going to be something they're going to make up something. So it's going to happen. That's usually what happens. It never fails, but that's okay. So then what you do is you continue making it about them. Oh, I totally understand where you're coming from. You're probably a busy person, so I respect your time. When you get a chance, definitely check it out and let me know because I definitely value your feedback. By the way, what made you reach out to us? So once you get that connection with them, then you can go into the conversation. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times people don't do that connection, and they go straight to the conversation and wonder why the person stopped responding. Okay? So then the conversation, now when you converse with the prospect, I want you to focus on 3 things when you converse with them. Number 1, I want you to focus on their pain points. So as they're telling you what their problems are, I want you to continue to make the conversation about them. Not about you, not about your service, not about your pricing, not about what you can do for them. Don't do none of that. I see that crap all the time. And you're making the conversation about you and you're being selfish. And you don't know that because you're trying to get the sale so quickly. Focus on them. So there's 2 ways to go about this, right? Again, these tactics right here are from the Challenger sales. So if you haven't read this book, that's a must read for sales. you got to read that book, okay? Especially if you don't have a high D personality, right? You definitely want to read the Challenge Yourself. You want to focus on the 3 T's: teach, tailor, and take control. Now, throughout the conversation, I really focus on tailoring and taking control of the conversation. So you saw the first tactic I did when I said, hey, I totally understand where you're coming from. When you get a chance, watch the video or let me know your thoughts on that ebook. By the way, and then I went back to the conversation. That's me taking back control. So if somebody jumps in the inbox, they're like, well, what's the cost of the program? Well, you say, well, look, everybody's different. I don't know much about your situation. I'll know more after we converse. And then I'll go back to the question. Well, what is your current problems? I'm taking control of the conversation. What people do is, oh, yeah, we got 3 different packages. We have this package and that package. Which package do you think? Like, dude, why are you doing that? That's not, now you just made yourself a commodity. You see what I'm saying? So we're trying to stay away from commoditizing our services. So when you do that, that's what you're doing. This is why we're telling you that you have to follow the process and you don't want to make the conversation about you. Even when I said that response is about them. You see what I'm saying? And then what you want to do is you want to use the 3S method: feel, felt, found. This is my favorite. I use this throughout the entire conversation. When they say something, oh man, I totally feel where you're coming from. Back in 2014, I felt that same exact way when I had bad credit. And then I found a solution to fix that problem. So feel, felt, found throughout. You can use 1, 2, you can use all 3, but always use feel, felt, found throughout the conversation. And then this is the biggest part that people mess up on. This is the biggest part. Out of all the 3, this is where most of the F-ups happen, right here. I know it because I've seen too many conversations. And if you're on this call, you know that I'm telling the truth. So the commitment. Here's the thing. You want to get a commitment from the prospect. And these are some ways that I go about it. So when I say get a commitment, you got to give them a reason to show up to the call. If you don't give them a reason to show up to the call, you're going to have a high no-show rate. Or that person's going to stop responding, or they're not going to book the appointment. That's typically what happens. The first way I typically go about this, I use the worst case scenario, fair enough. So what I'll say is, hey, as the conversation's flowing, I see that, okay, I have enough information to see if I can actually help this person. What I'll typically will say is, hey, let's do this. If you're open to it, let's jump on a call and I can see if there's something I can do to help you. Worst case scenario, you gain value from that call and you do as you please with that information. So the worst case scenario has to be a scenario that still is in favor of them. So you guys see the theme. So it has to be something that's in favor of that person. You see what I'm saying? So worst case scenario, right? And then you say what it is, but it has to be something like worst case scenario, you'll get a free bonus on the call. You won't have to pay for it. Oh, shoot. Okay, awesome. And you'll say, sounds fair enough. That fair enough is going to be the confirmation that you need. Because then if they say fair enough, then typically what happens is you'll usually lock that. Now, I'm not saying this is 100%, but your show rate is going to increase if you get that person to commit. They say fair enough. They say, yes, I agree. That sounds cool. Let's do it. Then yes, that'll happen for the most part. Now, here's the second thing that you want to do. If your show rate starts to decrease, then what you want to do is you want to give them a bonus. So what I'll do is something in the sense of like, hey, look, if you show up to this call, what I'll do is I'll give you a training that I typically charge for free. Does that sound fair enough? And they'll say, oh, yeah, I definitely want that bonus. Again, this is about them, okay? Or what you can do is you could give them a piece of the puzzle. You see what I'm saying? So this is also something else that I use where it's like, okay, cool. You can indoctrinate them. And during that indoctrination, what you can do is this is where you can kind of like create a video where it's like, look, I have 3 ways to remove negative items off your credit report really quick or something like that. Or I have 3 ways for you to generate leads in a certain way. I have 3 ways for you to get more followers on social media, whatever it is, right? And then that first one that you talk about, you want that to be something that's really juicy. And then the other 2 you leave out. So then what happens is you gave them a piece of the puzzle. So because of that, they're fiending for the rest of the puzzle. So then you're like, if you show up to the call, I'm going to give you the other 2. You see what I'm saying? The point of this is to get them to show up to the call because you guys have to remember, right? The objective is to grow your audience and generate revenue quickly to gain leverage. This is not about qualified leads, guys. You're not going to get qualified leads, or you're not going to get super qualified leads, or most of your leads aren't going to be as qualified. You may get some, but it's going to be a small percentage. It's going to be about 3%. So the rest of the people that come on there are probably not as qualified. And I'm going to tell you why in a few. So a lot of times people are focusing on using this strategy to get qualified leads. That's not how you get qualified leads. I'm going to show you how you guys get qualified leads. But remember, we talked about leverage. We want you to ascend out of this position. So your grind should be to get people to show up to the call, because if you're as good as you say you are, because everybody tells me they're a good closer, if you're as good as you say you are, you're going to get them on the phone and you're going to close them, right? So for me, back when I was doing credit repair, the last few months doing credit repair was, I think it was in 2020, right? Like I was just getting people. I was in the DM glitch. I was putting out a certain amount of ad spend. I forgot. I did was like 1,500, and I was generating a lot of leads. And every single one was going hard. And then the ones that communicated with me and they were really connecting, I was getting them on the call. And I got them on the call. Like I did everything I could to close the deal. If they didn't have the money, all right, cool. I got a solution for you. You know, if you got the money, all right, cool. Let's move forward. You know what I'm saying? If you're not gonna have the money till X amount, all right, cool. You don't gotta pay up front right now. I'm gonna get you in for free right now, and then what I'll do? I'll take your credit card information and we'll do a post sale, right? Whatever it is to get them to sign up, I was doing at that time. You see what I'm saying? But you can see why that was stressful. But again, like that's the point of it, because the difficulty is hard. We just want to get leverage, because you're not going to do that forever. A lot of times people think that's the process that you're going to do forever. If you're doing this for a very long time and this is your strategy, you're going to burn out. It's not going to last, period. You see what I'm saying? Remember the objective, what the goal is that you're trying to accomplish. Then you're going to embrace this process. But a lot of times people don't embrace this process because they're like, I got to do this forever. Man, there got to be another way, man. I know it's another funnel that works. You go get in that another funnel, guess what? You're in the same process. Oh, I'm going to get another funnel. I'm going to go and get another process. I'm going to go get another ad agency. I'm going to go get, and it's like, that's not your issue right now. The issue is you got high expectations for something that isn't supposed to go work that way. So again, I'm going to tell you guys what you guys are supposed to do, but just understand as you're doing the de-English process, this is what happens, right? This is what is entailed. So talked about connecting, making it about them. We talked about conversing, right? Having that conversation and how to have that conversation. Then we talked about the commitment. And an example is the dating concept. This just popped up to me the other day. For some strange reason, I was just laying down and it just popped up in my head. I don't know why, but it was weird. Anyways, think about it like this. So if you're dating, right, you kind of go through the same thing. First, if you're approaching that lady, you want to connect with them. So the way that you connect with them, you typically make it about them. Like, oh, hey, I like your dress. Oh, you smell good. What is that? You know what I'm saying? So then once you connect with them, then what happens? You have that conversation with them, right? And if you guys are using this, talking to women, just take this too, right? This is going to be a bonus. But anyways, when you converse with them, then what you do, you get a commitment from them. Like, hey, you know, what are you doing tomorrow? By the way, let's go to such and such. Worst case scenario, you get some free food, right? And then sounds fair enough. You see what I'm saying? And then from there, you get the phone number, which is the conversion. That's what we want to do. The conversion is whatever it is that goal is. So over here, we're trying to get them to book an appointment. With her, I got the phone number. Now this cycle starts over. So when I see her, then it's a connection, then we converse again, then there's a new commitment, and then there's a new conversion. But again, same thing. Once you do this inside of the inbox, now it's a whole new process. You get them on a sales call. You get a connection with them. Then you converse with them throughout the sales call. Then you get a commitment before you pitch. And then you get the conversion, which is the sale. It's the same cycle. And you can't skip any of these steps or else it's not going to work. All right. So I'm going to move on because I don't want to spend too much time on this, but hopefully this makes sense. And you see why this process right here is like super important. All right. If you found this video valuable and you want more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to like and comment under the video. Till next time, peace.